The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.
Hello one and all, and welcome to this latest Racing Post weekend preview podcast. Joining myself, Lee Mortised, in the studio here. We've got Graham Rodway, and on the line, we've got the Racing Post Lambourne correspondent, James Byrne, making his postcast debut. Congratulations, James.
Hi, Lee.
And not making his debut, in fact, we could barely do this without him. He's become an iconic figure to these broadcasts. Mr. Brendan Duke. Hello, Brendan.
Hello, Lee. Thanks very much. I hope we can live up to that billing.
Well, you do every week. And Brendan, just because I think, to an extent, these postcasts are now almost like a serial for the listeners, a bit like Coronation Street, etc. Last week, you revealed you were going on a date last Saturday evening. How did that go?
Oh, I'm afraid a tale of woe for this Romeo, Lee. What happened was that was on the Friday.
Oh, it was the Friday, right?
Yeah. So Thunderbirds were go on the Friday.
Yes.
And then on the Saturday, she had said she was going to the beach. And she sent me a message to say that she'd been on the beach for 2 hours, but the weather had closed in.
Right.
And she'd gone home. And then I said to her, well, that's a shame, but I hope at some stage you got some sun to worship, because what I've done there was I inverted sun worshipper.
Right.
Because I do that, it's part of my wooing technique. Like if you were a woman now, Lee, you'd be weak at the knees with that kind of stuff.
Well, I am wobbling slightly, Brendan.
Yeah. So then I didn't hear anything for 2 hours. I thought, this is strange. Yeah. And then next thing I looked in, she'd unmatched me.
She unmatched you?
She'd unmatched me. I was flabbergasted, Lee. My gast was flabbered.
Yes. Well,
and this comes on the back, bear in mind, of a previous dating debacle when I went on an actual date.
A real one, with a real person.
With a real person. And I was the victim of a trick question. So I'm emotionally bruised at the moment.
Well, you sound bruised. Yeah. Well, at least you've got the Hungerford Stakes to look forward to.
Ah, yes.
This week. James, your love life okay?
Sorry?
Your love life okay, James?
It's not as exciting as Brendan.
No.
Sun must have gone to her head.
Yes, few people's love lives are exciting as Brendan, and few things are as exciting as the Betfred Hungerford Stakes, the feature race on a very good Saturday at Newbury, one that takes us nicely towards the Ebor Festival at York. And Graham Rodway, whose love life we shan't go into, home of the brave, dominates the market for this one, just beaten in the Lennox Stakes at Goodwood. A major ride for Jim Crowley, who's climbing up the Jockeys' Championship quite rapidly now as well. Home of the brave, a solid favourite?
Yeah, I think so. Looks a real 7 furlong specialist, doesn't he? I was a bit disappointed actually with him at Goodwood. I know he ran very well, but I just thought he was going to be too good for Dutch Connection, although I suppose we should accept that Dutch Connection is very good also, over 7 furlongs on fast ground on his day, and maybe that was his day. But, I suppose hard to fault. He still ran a cracker in second, and he previously looked rock solid, and he looks the rock solid option in this one.
Okay, James, you're very good pals with Charlie Hills over in Lambourne. You'd write his column for the weekend. What's the inside line from Charlie on Galotta?
Well, just a word on Home of the Brave, because unlike Graham, I would have thought that was a very good run, because I know how highly Charlie rates Dutch Connection. So I'd be coming at that from a different point of view to Graham and saying that was a good run from Home of the Brave, and he'll take some beating. Galotta, my only worry with Galotta is this race was a bit of an afterthought. I think Charlie, it was reopened yesterday morning, and Charlie declared him the original plan was to go to York next week for the City of York Stakes, which has been, he goes very well at York, and it's been his main target for a while now. So he's probably unlikely to do both, given the race is only next week. So how much it, making him run, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know whether that will be a thing, but I just don't like that angle of horses, not missing, going for different races than perhaps what they've been targeted at.
No. Brendan, you would never approach Hungerford Stakes as an afterthought, would you?
No, well, no. I mean, it's a very winnable group too, isn't it?
Yeah.
What do I think? I mean, Home of the Brave is entitled to be fab. Just that Haydock win from Convey. He had a brilliant trip that day in in Haydock. He probably will have the lead to himself. Maybe Gelada could put a bit of pace pressure on him, but I thought Convey was a little unlucky that day. Back to form on Pontefract the last day. I thought the price was maybe Convey was the bet.
Okay, and James, did you give us a tip? James?
No, I'll go with Home of the Brave, I think.
You're going with Home of the Brave. Okay, lovely.
Just because that Dutch connection form, I think, is pretty good.
Okay. So 150 grand as well for the Hungerford. It's not really got 150 grand field, has it?
No.
No. I mean, Graham, you're not too stimulated by this field, are you?
No, it's a very disappointing Group 2, isn't it? I don't really think there's a Group 1 horse in it, that's for sure. And is there a Group 2 horse?
Well, what about the Geoffrey Freers only were... I remember growing up, the Geoffrey Freer was always a day when Peter O'Sullivan took his holidays around this time of year, and Julian Wilson used to call the Geoffrey Freer on the Saturday, and the Hungerford Stakes on the Friday, and I'm sure it was a better race than it is these days. King's Fate heads the market. If Julian Wilson was still alive and commentating these days, would he be calling home King's Fate a winner, do you think?
Oh, that's going back a few years, isn't it? Yeah. Julian doing the commentaries. Yeah. I love a bit of that. King's Fate, very highly regarded by Sir Michael Stout, and Ryan Moore thinks quite a lot of King's Fate, I know that. And has finally got it together, hasn't he? I mean, he's been a bit of a underachiever. I mean, he should have won at Royal Ascot when I'm sure even Ryan would agree that he got in a bit of a mess. And then he finally did do it last time out when he was quite impressive. And he's got that sort of profile of the typical Stout improver now, hasn't he? He's 5 and he might only just be reaching his peak. I expect King's Fate to win.
Okay. Brendan, do you expect the same?
Yes, I do. I mean, you're trying to look at a way to take him on, maybe with the 3-year-olds dominating this year, but the 3-year-olds aren't much cop. Red Cardinal looks like he could have the run of the race, but it's a massive step up for him. Battersea's probably not good enough. Yeah, I mean, he's a touch of odds on. Is he 10 to 11? Hang on 1 second. Yeah, he's 10 to 11, but I'm not sure I'd like to be laying him at that.
It's funny we say the 3-year-olds ain't much cop in this race, because, I mean, as we all know, I thought the 3-year-olds weren't much cop in last week's race, the Rosa Lancaster.
Oh, that was painful for you, wasn't it? Oh, God.
And, I mean, the Royal Artillery, I mean, come on, that horse was... I stuck that horse in my tracker after it won its maiden last year, and I thought, oh, this would be a nice horse this year. And then a couple of starts this year, I took straight out my tracker. It ran terribly the first 2 runs, and I thought, oh, this is a disappointing horse. And then, of course, just when you give up on it, he comes and beats you on the horse that you think that can't get beat, Scottish.
Absolutely, because listeners, if you were tuned in last week, remember that Graham was all over Scottish, weren't you?
Well, I'm surprised I've been allowed back the amount of stick I've taken for putting up Scottish as a
cannot be beaten, you said pretty much, didn't you?
Well, yeah.
But so there was. I mean, just go through the final furlong, what you were feeling as Scottish was grabbed by Royal Artillery.
Well, for most of the whole way round, I thought that Scottish was certain to win. I mean, he travelled like I thought he was going to. He got the nice lead. And then coming into the final furlong, I thought he stays a bit further. He'll see off this thing. And then I couldn't believe it as they come inside the final furlong, and also he was leaning all over him, wasn't he, on the rail, squeezing him up. I was surprised there wasn't Stewart's inquiry, but I know I was biased, obviously. But I was absolutely gutted.
Yeah, and no solidarity from your colleague Ron Wood, who managed to dig out the winner.
He tipped him, didn't he?
Even worse. Yeah, even worse.
God blimey. So it was a good day for Ron, though,
wasn't
it?
I actually got a text from my brother in the morning saying, I think this Royal Artillery is a fantastic bet at 16 to 1. Of course, when that won, that just, topped it off.
You see, Brendan, you thought your life was hard, but, I mean, at least your afternoon was good, wasn't it?
What happened on Saturday afternoon? I was working, wasn't I?
Well, there you go then. Okay, the Washington Singer Stakes. This used to be a really good guide. Well, it was a guide anyway. Lantara won this, didn't you, on the route to the Derby, the King George, and the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe. James, how did you see the Washington Singer?
Yeah, I was at Newbury when Escobar won on his debut last month, and I'd spoken to Hugo Palmer the day before, and he said he was a nice horse. He really liked him. He was in the Derby at that stage, and but he might need the run first day at school, that typical trainer talk. But he looked a nice type, and he came out and won. I was really taken with him, and I think he'll take all the beating tomorrow.
He looked good, didn't he, Brendan?
Brilliant name as well. Sorry, Lee.
Esker, you like that, do you?
Yeah. Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, you tell me the story.
the owners had watched the documentary film about the drug lord Pablo Escobar,
Right.
and then they saw that they bought this horse and saw he had one white nostril.
Right.
So they went and named him Escobar. So well named, and hopefully he's got the talent to carry that on.
That was a lovely anecdote, James. You can come back to this programme. That was very good. Brendan, do you see it as a walkover for Escobar?
Well, not a walkover.
No.
I mean, Francis sets a decent level. Mr. Scaramanga's interesting. That Tregonning horse could step up. He was a big price on debut, quite eye-catching, but not nearly as eye-catching as Escobar. I must say, James, did you see him in the parade ring beforehand?
He was a bit on his toes. Yeah, he might have a bit of attitude like his namesake.
Right, he must be a fair looker though. Excuse me, 280,000 for a son of famous name. I mean, famous name's only about $4,000 or something.
Yeah, well, he's famous names. He was certainly famous name's first winner as a stallion. Whether he's had any since, I'm not sure.
Weld had one in Galway. Colt won in Galway. So he's had a bit. But this horse is a seriously promising horse. I think he'll win.
Doesn't it show as well how quickly time goes? I mean, you said to me famous name. I've been thinking, probably won a Leopardstown Group 3 last year, and yet he's already got a 2-year-old on the track.
He probably finished second, and he was a second horse, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He used to finish second in everything.
But
I can't believe it's 2016.
I know, doesn't it? It is, though.
Yeah.
Rio Olympics and all sorts. Graham, you all over Escobar?
No.
Anything to add? No, you're not?
I'm dead keen to take Escobar on.
Okay.
I think he's a talking horse. I think Francus will win it. I think a lot depends on how Francus will be ridden.
Right.
I backed Francus last time out, and I thought it was a bit of a pish-posh ride. It was sort of like, maybe not give him too hard a time. I think we're going to get well beaten. And then all of a sudden, last furlong, we might have a chance of winning. Let's go for it. And then he flew home, finished third. Sort of gave the impression that maybe he'd be better over further. But I think maybe they learnt something there from Francus. I think they learned that they'll need to race prominently with him. I expect them to go from the front here. And if he does get to the front, I think it'd be very hard to pass. He's a very strong stayer.
Okay, well, Graham is taking on Francus. Before we move into the break, gentlemen, anything else at Newbury you want to mention? And that then therefore takes us into a commercial break.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
If you're watching on the telebox on Saturday afternoon, Channel 4 are broadcasting 3 races from Newmarket. Guys, anything that we want to be talking about in Newmarket? James, you're a romantic at heart. The grey horse handicap, you must love that.
Yeah, I wish I had grey hair rather than no hair.
Well, you carry it off beautifully.
Andar was taken out at Chepstow on Tuesday because the ground was surprisingly at Chepstow really quick. He's blinkered first time, and it might be a bit of a worry if Newmarket's on the quick side as well. But I think he might have his quirks, but he's a talented horse. So, and Neil Callan's obviously a top jockey, wanting to make the most of his time over here from Hong Kong. So maybe he could go well if he runs.
And Brendan, it is a lovely sight, isn't it? 11 grey horses dashing down the July course.
Yes, I think it is an interesting concept. They're always very difficult horses for the paddock watchers. Grey horses, notoriously hard to assess their well-being. But I mean, it's black arts anyway, isn't it? The old paddock watching.
Yes,
but,
it's a funny old game, isn't it?
Funny old game.
And do you have a view on the race?
Well, I see that Case Key went in first time for Appleby. That's one of the great angles in racing. Michael Appleby first time. Now he's under a £6 penalty. I don't think he'd have got £6 for the win. So technically, he's probably not that well in. But Appleby could work the magic second time. So it still has some scope. Only a 3-year-old. I'd chance that.
Okay, Graham. Any views?
No. I will be at Newmarket tomorrow, but I'm as regular viewers will know, I'm a big fan of Newmarket's July meetings, especially on a Saturday.
Right.
I'd love to get down there. Oh, it's just a great day. If the weather's out, if the weather's good, you can get the old picnic out, get the picnic table out.
You know what you're doing?
Yeah, go for a nice picnic in the afternoon. Yeah, take the family down there.
Really?
Yeah. Obviously the donkey rides.
You like that,
are
do
a
you?
big favourite. Well, not me.
Okay.
Yeah, but for the kids, they love the donkey ride. So I mean, that will be the highlight of the day for my son anyway. But not in. I don't fancy anything in this race.
Can I recommend the honeycomb ice cream at the ice cream van around the back? Delicious. With lumps of honeycomb in there.
I've not tried that. I'll have to get round there tomorrow.
Yeah, you should. And guys, the other Newmarket race on Channel 4, 20 grand Fillies Nursery, £45,000, 6 furlong handicap. Brendan, this 6 furlong handicap, have you guys priced it up yet?
No, we haven't. We really should have, but we've been a bit slack. Projection will be favourite.
Have a guess at what price?
I would say he will be approximately 5 to 1.
Okay, and have a guess what will be second favourite?
Oh, God.
Paddy Power, number 9.
What would you say? So if the wheel's not falling off a bit there?
On what?
On Paddy Power.
Right. Well,
speaking.
What price would you have? What price would you have Paddy Power in?
I would probably have him in at approximately 16 to 1.
16 to 1 then, Paddy Power. About Paddy Power in the CJ Murphy handicap. Boys, any views on the race? Any tips?
Yeah, this Graham will be awaiting my Lamborn nap for tomorrow's paper, and it might be on the rack for Charlie Hills in that race, Lee.
Okay.
He was hampered by a loose horse last time at Yarmouth and nearly won. And Charlie's horses are in good form. This horse wasn't that far off Charlotte last year. He's a course and distance winner. He loved the fast ground, and he had colic at the start of the year, which took a bit of time to get over. So hopefully he is over that now, and I think he'll go well.
Okay, I like that. That's a good case made for that horse. Graham, you got any other views on Newmarket?
Yeah, well, I'm pleased that James has given us that nugget, because I am going to need something to pay for the ice cream. So El Renac sounds good, doesn't it?
Honeycomb, remember.
Yeah, the first race is an interesting nursery, and High on Love for Charlie Fellows. Caught my eye last time out. Another one that I thought they should have made more use of her last time at Sandown. She travelled very nicely into the race. It was a 7 furlong listed race, and as they quickened, they left her behind, and then inside the final furlong, she was coming right back at them and finished 5th. That's quite a strong race. I think the winner, certainly the winner, went on to be placed in a group race next time out.
Right.
And this is obviously nowhere near that sort of grade. I mean, this is a nursery race as compared to that was a listed. And High on Love gets in off 82. I was reading Charlie Fellow's column in the Racing and Football Outlook, and he said they definitely didn't make enough use of High on Love that day. Right. And next time you see her, you'll see her go from the front, and they'll ride her very aggressively. So I'm expecting her to blast off from the lead and prove tough to catch, and those tactics have worked quite well on the Newmarket July course this year, haven't they? A lot of winners there seem to have made all, especially at the big meeting, the July meeting. Everything made all there, didn't it? Franklin D being the most impressive.
Yeah, a lot of them under James McDonald.
Yeah,
who's sadly gone back to Australia. You mentioned there were blasting. There'll be much blasting in the big handicap of the day. The William Hill Great St Wilfred 355, 70 grand to the winner. Been a big week for Ripon. One of our Olympic gold medal winning divers comes from Ripon. No need though for that to have an influence on your tips in the Great St Wilfred. Brendan, how are Paddy Power betting on the William Hill Great St Wilfred?
9 to 2 Orion's Bow, 15 to 2 Related, 8 to 1 both Kimbrella and Nuno Tristan, 9 to 1 Intisab, 14 to 1 brings in Perfect Pasture, Snap Shots and Toofy, and 16 Spar.
Lovely. And who wins the Great St Wilfred?
I'm going to give Toofy another chance. Normally in this race, you're better off being drawn low. He's got a good draw. He'd no chance from the draw the last day in Goodwood. He was still a bit disappointed, even allowing for the draw. But at the price, when you sort of fancy a horse for the Stewards Cup, and then he's 14 to 1 for Great St Wilfred, you probably have to go in again.
He ran bad there, though, didn't he, in the Stewards Cup?
He did. There's no doubt about it. We have to sometimes, Lee. We have to go in for the forgiveness business.
Yeah. You've got some wonderful lines. It's a miracle you can't find a woman. The lines that you can come out.
I mean, I say that all the time. Women, they're a different species, really, aren't they?
Well, it's their loss, Brendan. It's their loss.
Yeah, but I mean, if also the trick questions. They're always at me with trick questions.
Are they?
Yeah.
Graham, the St Wilfred, probably right up your street this race, isn't it?
Yeah, I do actually really fancy one in this. I think that it's an absolute huge plot horse. George Dryden.
George Dryden. And Duffield.
And Duffield. massive eye catcher at the track first time out. Finished second, and got well off the pace and performed miracles to come through and finish second. And I thought, well, that George Dryden, that has definitely got a big handicap in it. Now, next time out of York, he missed a break and had no chance, was far too far behind the whole race, could never get into it. So put a line through that one. And last time out, it was like, oh, well, the Wilfred's coming up. Let's give it a run on the all-weather. You know, I mean, he's got absolutely no form on the all-weather at all. You know, and we'll give him a nice prep run. He won't have too hard a race. And he finished 9th. And I put a line through that run because, I mean, his all-weather form doesn't even compare to his turf form. You're going to see a completely different performance from George Dryden, now returned to Ripon, where he made such a promising effort first time out. Right. And I really fancy him. I just hope that the draw pans out in our favour. I mean, Brendan's already said, you know, he wants to be low. But, I mean, I spoke to, you know, my colleague Pietro Nicenzi this morning. I said, what about the draw at Ripon? And he said high.
That complicates things, doesn't it?
He said high on fast ground and low on soft ground.
You're in the middle, aren't you?
I don't really know, you know, and I like Brendan. I mean, I was all over Toofy for the Stewards Cup, and something else there as well. Was it that horse of David Evans called Dugan? Yeah, that was drawn high, and if you get on the wrong side of the draw in these sprint handicaps, you might as well tear up your ticket. So let's just hope that this time we end up on the right side of the draw with George Dryden. Okay,
James, do you go in with that, George Dryden?
No, I mean, I'll go with the favourite next to him in store 9, Orion's Bow. He would have won the Stewards Cup, but for possibly a Group 1 filly. It's a boring selection lead, but he'll take all the beating if repeating that. There's not a dancing star in this race, is there?
No, and if it wins at 9-2, James, that is not boring. That is rewarding. That would be absolutely lovely. Okay, Paul Keeley now has something that will not be beaten.
If he doesn't win, I will be absolutely staggered. I think it's a stone-cold certainty.
Right, gentlemen, best bets. Graham Rodway, George Dryden or not?
I'm just sort of looking through my sort of things, my notes that I haven't picked already, because I'm going to go for something else. Let's go for a Ripon in the Silver Trophy.
Yes.
It's called Rex Imperator.
Oh, good old Rex.
Yeah, he's an old favourite, isn't he?
Yeah.
Did he win a Stewards Cup? No.
I think he did for William Haggis.
He did. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Now with David O'Mara.
That's right. He was a huge eye catcher at Goodwood. Now with David O'Mara, as you say. Was very free early on after taking a bit of a bump, but stayed on very strongly to finish third. And I thought shaped just like the sort of horse that David O'Mara will work his magic with. And David O'Mara is right back to form, isn't he? After a bit of a slow start by his standards, he's back in form, and I expect Rex Imperator to win the 325 at Ripon.
Rex Imperator is Graham Rodway's best bet. James Byrne, your best bet is?
I will stick with Elna Rack in that 320 at Newmarket. But I must just mention at Ripon in the 255, William Muir's got a horse called Fiji. And William Muir, unlike some of them other trainers, the likes of Henry Candy and Jonathan Portman, is perhaps the other end of the optimism scale. And he was purring about this horse after he won at Carlisle last time. And I think he'll go well as well.
That's a second Rio connection then to the Ripon card, isn't it, with Fiji?
It's spelled F-H-I.
Well, I know that, Joe. I was just making the point, though. I mean, we don't get too literal about these things. I was just,
I don't know if I pronounced it right.
No, you pronounced it, but I'm sure you did.
Fiji.
Well, that's how they'll pronounce it now that you've said that. And Brendan, your best bet of the day.
I'm very excited about this Escobar and the 230 in Newbury, as discussed earlier. I'll go for him.
Lovely. You stay excited, Brendan. And we're going to have a commercial break now, and then we'll wrap up the programme on our return.
Here's Paddy Power's latest horse racing offer. It's money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second to the SP5 at one meeting every day this month. Paddy Power, you're welcome. Max free bet £25, 18 plus. Please gamble responsibly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this Racing Postcast with myself, Lee Mottershead, Graham Rodway, James Byrne and Brendan Duke. This will be a rapid final furlong of this broadcast. Big international couple of days coming up. Lads, we've got the Arlington Million card in Chicago on Saturday night, featuring, of course, the Arlington Million, also Clondor Warrior, trying to complete the Galway Hurdle American St Ledger double. And then we've got the Prix Jacques Lemallois on Sunday. Graham, do you have views on any of those races?
I've got absolutely no idea what's running any of these races. What are we looking at? The Jacques de Marois?
Jacques Le Marois.
No, I got no idea on that one.
Galileo Gold, Ribchester, Avegia, Vademos.
Well, the only thing I would say is that Ribchester did look a little bit unlucky, didn't he?
Okay.
At Goodwood. I mean, he was given a bit more to do than the front two, and he flew home. But I just have been so busy this morning, I just had no chance to look at these races at all.
Okay, so from having had no views...
There is a horse that I really fancy at Dundalk, which Brendan will be able to...
I wasn't on the running order.
But I honestly can't remember the name of it.
So you can't remember the name of the horse?
No, I can't. Maybe...
That was a minute of my life wasted there, just doing all that.
I don't have my phone. Even if I had my phone, I could check my emails, because obviously you get those tracker emails that tell you,
Yeah. Well, never mind.
I can't remember what it's called, sorry.
James... Prix Jacques Le Marois, Arlington Million, Secretariat Stakes, Beverly D, American St Ledger.
Deauville, I think, will win the Arlington Million for Aidan O'Brien and Jamie Heffernan. He's been to America already this year to win the Belmont Derby. He's taking on the older horses, but I think he's got a touch of class, and I think he'll win that. O'Brien's got a great record in America as well. He obviously knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing everywhere, doesn't he?
Okay. And does that sum up your international thoughts?
Oh, well, just the Galileo Gold should win the Jacques Le Marois, shouldn't he? The 2000 Guineas winner, one of the best horses in training. And at Goodwood he got beaten by another very special horse. So I don't think there's I rate the Gurkha quite highly, and I don't think there's a Gurkha in that race. Although that Vademos of Andre Fabre is a danger, perhaps, given what Fabre said about him in the past. He absolutely raves about him. He's perhaps not shown that on the track, but if Fabre's got that faith in him, people should take note.
Okay, and Brendan, just the Jacques Le Marois, how did Paddy Power price that one up?
It is 11-8 Galileo Gold, 5-2 Ribchester, 13-2 Vademos, 7-1 Arvegia, and 14 Bar.
And do you have a view on the Great Deauville Group 1?
I certainly do. I think Ribchester's the bet of the weekend.
Oh! Go on.
Well, it's a fascinating race tactically. Now, because Hugo Palmer came out after Goodwood and said, well, perhaps we got beaten because we made the running. But I can't have that at all. He was absolutely as happy as Larry out there making the run. He pricked his ears, he settled beautifully, the complete run of the race, set off the soft fractions, and he beat Ribchester by a fag paper. Ribchester had not such a good trip, and he had to make up ground off the soft fractions, and there was nothing between them. I can't understand the prices. I think they should be the same price. So all in Ribchester.
You want to vote with the odds compilers then? Tell them they're getting it wrong.
Well, no, I like this actually, because you see, I didn't have anything to do with pricing this race, because often what happens is I've priced the race, so I can almost get it wrong twice, because if I've made the wrong horse favourite or something, I go, well, this horse should be favourite on here, because I've already predetermined it by my own prices, so I can look at this in the abstract and tell them, I mean, seriously, they want to have a good look in the mirror.
Just to play like devil's advocate there, I mean, because I agree with Brendan essentially about the Ribchester argument, but there is the opposite argument that what happened was Galileo Gold and the Gurkha just sort of fought it out between them. They softened each other up, and then Ribchester almost cashed in by sort of being ridden a bit more patiently on the fact that they'd softened each other up.
But when did they start soft? Yeah, no, absolutely, and perhaps that's what the lads were thinking. But it's like, when did they start softening one another up? I mean, they only started quickening about a furlong and a half down.
It's true, and obviously the Gurkha did get the runner of the race tracking through, Galileo Gold, and But I agree with you essentially. I just wanted to throw that out there.
And fair play. A little sort of sidebar is that when I was growing up in Blackburn, Lancashire, our milkman William Briggs, who we used to call Bill, he came from Ribchester, so he brought the milk from Ribchester to Blackburn.
They don't exist anymore, do they? Milkman.
We have one come down our road occasionally.
Do you?
But we just go to the supermarket.
Yeah.
Shouldn't do, but there you go. Anyway, lads, anything else on Sunday do you want to mention at Pontefract or the meetings in Ireland? Anybody now? Speak now or forever and all that?
No, it's pretty poor fare in Ireland Sunday.
Okay. Well, there's always Rio, isn't there?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Okay, well, I've enjoyed that. That's been lovely. Listeners, if you return on Monday, we've got our preview show looking ahead to the Welcome to York Ebor Festival for cracking days on the Naesmire. Until then, have a lovely weekend. My thanks to Graham, to Brendan and to James, and see you all soon. Bye-bye.
The Racing Postcast in association with Paddy Power. They pay more extra places than any other bookie.